Welcome to the family with
Officer Dave
And Andy Brant Bernard.
no Josh Arnold, of course. He shows up when he feels
just
like
heard
it.
the door.
He just shows up when he feels it. Here he comes.
Look at that
Just
timing.
like I feel it. It was all about CrowdStrike.
Mm-hmm.
All about CrowdStrike. You heard that this
CrowdStrike.
morning?
What's that?
Global IT outage.
Really?
Global IT outage caused by CrowdStrike, market symbol CRWD.
So what is CrowdStrike?
Cybersecurity firm.
Oh, they are. They caused it?
International. They were updating their software.
Oh, okay.
Had a little glitch.
No.
And fortunately, everything was able to be opened on time, at least in terms of stock markets around the world,
okay.
banks in particular. A lot of companies might have had some issues. And if you were trying to get your airline ticket online or try to check in online,
Mhm.
Not
no
happening?
can do.
No.
Major
not
lines at airports, airport delays across the country because of that.
Well, that might be why the Stanley Cup couldn't get up to Minneapolis.
Yeah, they couldn't get it up
For
here.
Kyle.
That's right.
Yep.
That's very, very true. But I got to ask you guys a question to kick
Can you
things off.
have him put headphones on?
Put your headphones on, Josh.
Yeah, Josh,
There
your
we
pill.
go.
But because was I able to? Could you hear me over the air without the headphones?
Yeah, but could you hear Andy?
No, I could not
Well,
hear
there
a
you
word
go.
that Andy said.
There you go.
But I
Yeah,
but
there
I
you
had
go.
texted him saying I'm on my way.
Yes.
Here's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that Andy, because in his own beautiful way, would say, "Hey, we got a major problem," and he would come up with something in his wry sense of humor.
Yes, Josh Arnold's self-driving car crashed because of the CrowdStrike update.
Yeah, there you go. The
Yeah, there it
self-driving
is.
car.
Robo taxis aren't working.
No,
No.
they're not.
Oh, that could have an adverse effect on Google with their Waymo vehicle.
Yep.
People are going Waymo, Waymo.
I got a lot of mo.
It's
We
too
got a
early.
lot of mo. We
Way
got a lot
too
of mo.
early.
Is
This
that
what
Joe
it is.
Frazier?
Mr. T in Rocky.
Oh, it's Mr. T. Got
Yep.
a lot of mo.
I got a lot of mo.
Oh, that's right. He was in Rocky.
Yep.
Yeah, he was. That's where he kicked off his career big time.
Pretty
as a matter
much,
of
yeah.
fact.
Well,
Now the
18 was before that.
I thought the 18 was after that.
The movie or the TV show?
The TV show with George Papard.
1983. When was Rocky 3? Rocky
1976.
82.
Oh,
So
Oh,
actually,
Rocky 3. Yeah.
Rocky
Rocky
3. So yeah, actually, Rocky 3 was before the 18.
Yeah, I
Wow.
thought So yeah.
I would not have guessed that.
I wouldn't have either.
I don't know why the 18 just feels very old.
Does he still have a lot of mo? That's what I want.
These days, I
he
don't
looks
think
he
there's
looks a lot of rough, is
a
what
lot
he
of
looks.
mo right
Yeah, does
now.
he?
You were saying?
What the hell was I saying? I was saying something about
Something about Waymo taxis.
No, I was talking about Waymo because of the CrowdStrike update that created this global IT outage today.
So what are they going to do about this?
Well, they're fixing it. Things are starting to get up
They
and
are.
up
Okay.
and running, and the Secretary of Transportation is on it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. No question about it.
He was on it. He was asked the question, your name has been mentioned as a replacement
For who?
for the current quarterback. We're looking for new quarterbacks.
Oh, I see. what you
JB.
mean here. JB. Yeah, there you go.
But JB said this morning, nope, I'm still the one. I'm still the one. I've got the delegates. Not happening.
He's still the
not
one.
stepping.
But is he still having fun?
So I have a question for you because this is like the 10th time they've asked him to step up and step down, but he just will not do it.
No.
I suppose I understand his position. You're president of the United States, but I'm trying to follow this whole thing. You know what I mean? You got people. I did not know this. And Andy, maybe you could look it up on Google because you got Google programming on your TV too, right?
We have the same TV you do.
Yeah, exactly. There are a couple of movies out about Donald Trump on Google programming that are the most vicious things I've ever heard.
I'm sure.
Would you mind looking them up? They're just
Well, there's a billion of them.
There are a billion Donald Trump movies on Google.
Well, I mean, it depends
programming?
on your definition of a movie, because the thing
Well,
about
that's true.
these Google TVs is that they'll show you YouTube content as well. So that's
Yeah, they
probably what
do,
you're
yes.
seeing. You're probably just seeing some guy put together an hour-long
Oh, God.
screed about how Donald Trump is Hitler.
I just really, really wish that people would stop being so vicious to one
Yeah,
another.
I agree.
My God, settle down.
I agree.
That was basically the same thing the entire Bush years. He was the dumbest person to ever become
Yeah,
president.
that's
He was
true.
going to cause
Yep.
World War III. He was going to put everyone who wasn't Christian in death camps. And then Trump got elected, and everyone's thinking back fondly on the George Bush years. And now Donald Trump, he's the dumbest president we've ever had. He's
Yeah.
going to put all the non-Christians in camps. And the next time a Republican gets elected, they're going to be the dumbest president in history, and so forth.
I
Because that's just
suppose.
how it is. You got to keep that myth up.
I don't know why they want to get so whipped up about all that stuff. It just makes no sense to me whatsoever. You know, there's not one person on earth that I dislike enough to say the things they say about both these guys, Biden and Trump.
I agree.
I just don't dislike anybody anywhere near that much. Maybe Hitler. I suppose he comes on as the
He
closest
could
to.
fill the gap for you.
Yeah, he might be able to fill the gap for me.
That reminds me of Frasier. So Frasier, you know the show Frasier.
Sure.
He's a psychiatrist, and his dad isn't a huge fan of psychiatry. And he asks, so his dad says that I don't think psychiatry is necessary. And he says, you don't think anyone on earth, you can't think of anyone who might need a psychiatrist. And he thinks, and he goes, Hitler. And he goes, anyone else? Sybil. Anyone else? No, just those two.
Just those two. That's it.
Hitler and Sybil.
Hitler. Jesus. Honest to God. Do you think it's true? Because there's all this talk now about Hitler being how he was because he was sexually frustrated.
They've been saying that for years.
Oh, they have been?
It's just a way to emasculate.
Yeah, I agree with Andy. It's all talk and BS. Was the Ava Braun marriage a sham?
Yeah,
Was
right,
it, you know,
right.
The thing is, people with that much power are not sexually frustrated.
That's
Doesn't matter how ugly they are, how crazy they are. If they have that kind of power,
Yeah,
they're not having any trouble in that
trouble
regard.
getting some.
I suppose that is true.
Well, I mean, God, look at these mass murderers and mad bombers in prison getting letters from women.
Yeah, you're right.
It's like there's someone out there desperate and crazy enough to sleep with you if you if you're willing to lower your standards far enough. I
can
guess
see
no matter
that.
who you are, you can find someone.
I see there's also people that absolutely insist that this whole Donald Trump shooting was a scam that
Mhm.
was all made up. It was. There's a guy dead.
Yeah.
They're trying to.
Actually, yeah,
Protect
guy dead, two critically injured,
Yeah.
still in the hospital.
Yep.
That's until that actually came out, that cynical part of my brain was going, really? He moved just enough to just
did.
take out the ear. Did he just fall down, cut his ear, pull the old professional wrestling with the razor blade,
Yeah.
cut his ear,
Yeah.
that kind of thing? Because your Secret Service isn't going to, unless they're way inept, going to
Yeah, that's
miss
the
that.
thing is how did they miss this guy?
Yeah.
They saw him on the roof too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They saw him up there. There are people now.
People were pointing out there's a
Yeah.
guy on
Yeah.
the roof.
Yep,
Yep.
they were.
There's a guy on the roof,
Yep.
and the Secret Service or law enforcement had somebody in that building,
And then
inside, not up on
and then
the
I
roof.
hear the one cop went up the ladder and the guy pointed a gun at him. I'm like, wait a minute. You got up the ladder. You didn't like peek over the edge there first and see that he's got a rifle. And all of a sudden, oh, I should probably draw my gun at this point.
You would think.
Why wouldn't they have used that convenient rooftop as a great spot for the
exactly.
FBI to stand?
Yeah.
The Secret Service.
Wow. So many things that are above my pay grade that I just,
Well, there are
What do
people
you
now
mean
that
above your pay grade? You would know if you were going to this place. Okay, you've been trained to survey the
Mhm.
landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if you're standing, here's where the stage is going to be. The stage is up high.
Mm-hmm.
What can I see within my purview? Oh, look at that. There's this hill up there, and it looks like there's something flat on top of the hill that's even above that hill.
Mhm.
Maybe I should go or send somebody.
Call that skylining.
Yeah, go walk up 150 yards from where I'm standing. So
Yep.
that's a football field and a half.
Yeah.
Yep.
From
exactly
where I
right.
am standing and see what that is.
Yep.
Is that such a stretch? Oh, there's a rooftop here. It's within my line of sight. What is the likelihood that somebody could be up there? Or better yet,
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't we position some of our people
Yes.
on top of that rooftop?
Right.
Because if we're down in a little valley, and that's the highest
Mhm.
point around,
That's our sniper spot.
that could be, that's
Yep.
our sniper
Yep.
spot or counter sniper
Yep.
spot.
Nope.
You guys
I
know
agree.
Dan Bongino, right?
Yes,
know.
he was very, 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 very much on that.
Oh, he was on that. He says, I mean, he's almost implicating the FBI as setting Trump up to be murdered.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's what he was talking about. They did nothing to protect him.
Well, there's a such thing as criminal negligence.
Well, you got
And
that.
you have
right.
to, I mean, is allowing someone with a gun to crawl around on a rooftop right next to the president or a potential president,
Right.
is that criminal negligence? Because it could be argued that it is.
Yeah. That's what these people. Dan Bongino was absolutely convinced they did the worst job of protecting the president that's ever
Well,
happened.
you watch that poor gal. She was a little bigger, trying to get her gun in and out of her
Yeah.
holster.
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
You're making a face.
Well, not to mention, what's a pistol going to do at that range anyway?
Well, yeah, you're
Right.
literally a pistol is really good and accurate from about me to you, Andy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
At that range, a
Yeah.
pistol is probably going to do more harm than good. The
Exactly.
bullets are going to fall somewhere you don't intend them to.
Yep.
It is all true. Now, I don't know how I'm going to tee this up, but I got a message from the Trump administration that they wanted to do an interview on the show, which would be a very big deal. But then I found out they wanted me to use a pre-recorded interview and just do my lines in between. I said, no, I'm not doing that.
Mm,
So, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are more than welcome to come on this show. It'd be great. It'd be a hell of an honor, but I'm not doing pre-recorded.
No, that's
interviews.
lame.
Very lame.
Have you ever done a pre-recorded interview?
No, never.
You're so good at regular, off-the-cuff conversational interviews. It's like
I mean, I'm good at BSing. Is that what
exactly. I was trying to be nice, but no, you got to take it to the BS section.
So we're working on that, and I talked to Don over. Works with Mike Lindell, and of course, Mike is at the Republican convention. So we'll try to tee it up in the next 2-3 weeks, months, something like that. Have Donald Trump on the show, and like I said, Joe Biden's more than welcome to come on.
Isn't there a law that they have to give equal time? You
There
have to
was. They got
Oh,
rid
they
of
got
that
rid of
law
that?
like
Okay.
30 years ago.
Oh,
Okay.
did they know?
The
Okay.
equal
Got rid
time
of it.
law, it's been gone for a long
Okay.
time. Yeah.
I could just see equal time. Rachel Maddow having to deal on MSNBC.
Oh
and
God!
and
I
say
guess,
something.
yeah. You see your CNNs and your Foxes.
Yeah,
It's
none
like-
of the news
They're not equal time
outlets
anymore.
would like that.
Has there been a period in America's history where people have been so hateful toward one another? I mean, I suppose when
Civil
the
War?
Civil
Civil
War,
War.
yeah.
And
Probably the biggest
The
one.
Civil War.
probably the
Revolutionary War might be number 2.
Yeah, but that was against the
The
No,
rates.
I would tell you if you start reading just the press during the late 1800s. There was a thing, if you remember your history, Andy,
Which I
stuff
don't.
it,
which
they
I
would
don't.
they would talk about yellow journalism.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I do know
Yeah.
about that.
Okay,
yeah.
so that
Yeah.
was during the late 1800s, and you
Mhm.
had the different politicians and their newspapers going at one another with the same type of venom that's going on
Yeah.
now.
really.
The difference today is that everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry has access to a newspaper, except it's on their computer today, when they didn't have necessarily that before. Now somebody could say, well, if you had access to a printing press or could write something, you
Mhm.
could, send it out to as many people as could get it. but there weren't as many people that had access to a printing press.
Mm-hmm.
But there was that thing of yellow journalism, which was just politicians and others attacking one another on various subjects. A lot having to do, or actually one election had to do. Let's see, William Jennings Bryan ran for president 4 times and lost.
God.
And his big thing was silver better than gold.
Yep.
Silver better than gold.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We can't have the gold standard. We need the silver standard.
I want the uranium standard.
Quite frankly, we do need a lot more uranium. We need
That is true.
a lot more nuclear power.
Enriched uranium.
I would not be opposed to that as long as it's managed properly.
Mm-hmm.
Why are people so afraid of nuclear power?
Because it's not managed properly. And like
Why don't they?
Well, hold on.
We've
What do you
said
mean not
before.
managed properly? The U.S. Navy can manage it properly.
Exactly. But you know what, we've said it before on the show. What is the first thing you think of when you think of nuclear power?
Mm-hmm. It's going to be 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl, or The Simpsons.
Exactly.
Yeah,
None
there
of
you
them
go.
are good associations.
No, I
There
just
you
think
go.
of the USS Nautilus.
Well,
Well, then
Yeah.
you'd be in the 0.1%, I think.
yeah.
I just think of the U.S. nuclear power. I think of there goes the U.S. Navy.
Yeah.
I think of Top Gun Maverick, and those big carriers.
Mhm.
They all run
They're-
on nuclear
They're
power.
all running
They
on
have
nuclear.
to. There's no
Yep.
way you could run something that gigantic on anything else.
Nope.
Because the amount of energy in a single gram of uranium is just insane.
Mm-hmm.
It just, it requires a whole lot of. You can't let anyone just have that.
Yep. Well, I have a cousin who was, or still is, in the Navy, and he served on the George H.W. Bush carrier.
Mhm.
And he says, yeah, they're nuclear powered all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
We
there
run
is.
it
You'd
all
never
the
know.
time.
How about things were a little bit different in the 50s? Ever heard of the Gilbert U-238 Atomic Energy Laboratory?
No.
Sounds like a high precision building run by the military. It was a children's toy.
What?
Yep, sold in toy stores with actual uranium in it.
Really?
Yeah, the idea was that you could put uranium on a little disc and watch it oxidize, and you could generate heat from it and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Wouldn't let you do that anymore.
Isn't that a
No.
little
yeah, that-
dangerous?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should not let any
Jesus.
children touch uranium ever.
Think
I mean,
so.
uranium isn't as dangerous as people think, because I think it's either alpha or beta decay. Gamma is the scary one. Uranium isn't the scary one. The problem, no, it's alpha. Alpha is it gets blocked by basically anything. So it touches anything, it just fizzles
Stops.
out.
Okay.
The problem is if you swallow or breathe it in, that alpha decay is now hitting your stomach and your lungs, which don't really have any of those protections.
Gotcha.
So you got real issues in that case. But if you just hold uranium in your hand, probably nothing will happen. You might get skin cancer in 30 years, but who doesn't?
Well,
How about
But yeah,
asbestos? How
but-
are they doing with that?
Well, it's like how they used to give kids mercury to
Yeah.
play with.
Oh, they
It's
did.
like
Yep.
technically nothing wrong with that until you breathe in the vapors
yep.
and then you get brain damage.
Is that what happened to me?
That's exactly what happened.
Too
here.
much mercury.
I don't know that mercury. Just just watching it on the lab table.
It's fun.
kinda-
It was fun. It was cool.
It's kind of cool moving
Yep.
up and down. Now they don't have lab tables.
No.
No lab tables. No science.
I know, it's true.
What is the effect that this RNC and soon to come the DNC having on the market?
Well, on Monday the market really zoomed up,
I
but
saw
I think
that.
that was
I saw that. Yeah.
that was a big surprise, and it say a positive reaction to Donald Trump, and even Saturday night when I went to see, I'll say the SO and I went to see Bill Maher.
You're right. Yeah, you told me that.
Bill Maher said it's over. Election is over. Trump has won. Sorry, folks, it is all done. So the market was up. Then since then we've had some definite pullback, some having to do with earnings, some having to do with policy that has come out of both I'll say the Democrats and the Republicans. To me, scary talk, as in, are we going to, who's going to out tariff who?
Oh boy.
Oh, you think you're going to put a 60% tariff on Chinese goods coming into the United States, Mr. Trump? Nah, that's nothing. 100% tariff coming from me, Joe Biden. We don't want anything from China. We're going to put 100% tariff on all the stuff that the U.S. needs. We're going to put 100% tariff on Chinese EVs, 100% tariff on solar panels coming from China, 100% tariff on Chinese steel coming into the United States, 100% tariff on rare earth minerals coming into the United States.
Hence EV batteries.
Yeah, it's like, hello, President Biden, you need rare earths to manufacture all these batteries to generate all the cars that you're promoting.
Yep.
And at the same time, your policies are saying we don't want to do any rare earth mining in the United States because that is harmful for the climate. Huh? So the market was reacting more to some of the policies that were coming out than anything else. Not to mention there seems to be a major shift from money going from, we'll say, winning stocks to losing stocks. And there was also some economic news that coming from the Fed that we might be considering, given the market conditions that inflation is coming down, we could start cutting interest rates. Well, if we're starting to cut interest rates, don't need some of the growth stocks. Now we can start looking at some of the value stocks. And we're going to take the money that we've made in semiconductors, such as NVIDIA or AMD, and move that over to D.H. Horton or Toll Brothers as examples. If interest rates start coming down, maybe we should be looking at small companies who are based here in the United States, do not have a lot of international exposure, because all those small companies would avoid any of the tariffs, and we should start throwing money into them, even though a lot of the small companies have not done well for the last 20 plus years. Maybe it's time for them. So we're going to sell large capitalization companies, move to small capitalization companies. And if interest rates start coming down, we're going to go put money into banks. And I go, geez, this is really intelligent. Banks did not make money the last time interest rates were down. They did not make money when interest rates were rising. And you tremendous analysts and strategists said, you got to have money in banks when interest rates are going up because the banks are going to make more money. That did not happen.
Really?
Did not happen. So, okay, now that interest rates are going to start falling, now you're going to say that the banks are going to have a better time at making money because why? Well, with interest rates falling and the banks having bought higher yielding treasuries, they're not going to have to pay out as much as they had before. So their net interest income, which had been falling, now might start to rise. So go buy bank stocks. Well, that was good for a couple days.
Then that went
until yesterday, when all the banks sold off, and we had a massive sell down in the Dow Jones. On Wednesday, NASDAQ was down. Dow Jones was up big. Yesterday, NASDAQ was down, but the Dow Jones was down huge, huge. But a lot of that had to do with, again, well, is Joe Biden in or is he out?
Right.
Who's going to replace him? And we're still talking about higher tariffs and who's going to out tariff the other, or who's going to be more economically isolationist than the other, which now brings me to something else. And I know you don't want to be talking about politics, but it is interesting to me, particularly listening to I'll say J.D. Vance, and his speech. I didn't hear coming from him something to be traditional from a Republican. Cutting taxes. Did not hear from him anything about international or promoting international trade.
Right.
Did not hear from him anything about foreign policy related to Israel. What I heard from him was we're for the working man, whether it's a union or non-union. Okay, every politician is for the working man. We need to create.
You would think.
We want to promote private industry, but nothing about economic growth coming from J.D. Vance. That did give me a little bit of pause from the from Trump's speech last night. I fell asleep a few times because it was just. I mean, I've listened to a lot of sermons from rabbis that can put you to sleep within 2 minutes. This one took a little longer to put me to sleep, but I kept waiting. Are you going to say anything of substance? Are you going to talk about promoting your economic policies? Are you going to talk about how good the economy was in the United States when you cut taxes with the 2017 Tax Cut Act?
Right.
The economy zoomed up. And then you imposed a year later, you started talking about tariffs. And what happened to the economy? Started stalling out. And instead of rescinding the tariffs or saying, well, I made a mistake with tariffs, saying tariffs are good, it helps the U.S. You instead attacked the Federal Reserve for raising interest rates, because if you have tariffs, what's going to be happening? Higher prices. Corporations react with higher prices.
Right.
Not to mention at that time we're going to put higher taxes on Chinese steel. Wonderful. We want to benefit U.S. steel manufacturers. Okay. What companies use steel for manufacture? Builders use that. We use a lot of steel. Car manufacturers use steel. Even you've got cans made of steel that go into grocery stores. Didn't those products start costing more money? Who does that help? It does not help I'll say the working man,
class,
whether the working man be union or non-union. As a matter of fact, companies, if prices start going up, they need to compete on either a local basis or a global basis. What can we do to increase productivity without increasing our labor costs? We can have a machine come in. The machine can do some of the things that people can do, and we're going to cut back on our labor costs, which did happen. tariffs not good. Not to mention, of course, you can have numerous countries where you impose the tariffs, they're going to retaliate. Who also did the tariffs hurt? Well, we're going to impose these tariffs on China. Chinese say, oh, we import a lot of energy. Well, we're going to put tariff on that. We'll get the energy elsewhere. Or better yet, we're importing a lot of food from the United States. I guess we're going to put tariffs on that food
On
that's
US
coming in, on U.S.
Yep.
products coming in. And what does that do to U.S. farmers?
It makes their stuff that they're making useless.
Okay.
That they're growing useless.
And that happened another time in our history.
Wasn't around 1930, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, somebody was paying attention in history class.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't teach that anymore. And I'm sorry, J.D. Vance, that you didn't learn that. Well, of course, you're 39, so I definitely you did not learn that at Middletown High School.
No.
One of my favorite things about The Grapes of Wrath, which is that era. It's a great movie, wonderful movie.
Good book,
55.
Too. Yeah, that's exactly right. They're driving along. I'm getting really worried about Ma. She's getting very old. She's turning 55. It's like, whoa, 55, man. That whole situation. How the hell did that ever happen in 1930? I mean, I know several opinions, but what really did happen to destroy this country the way it did?
Well, part of it, if those people who were investing in the stock market at that time, there's no rules against using leverage.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, okay, we're going to put, not too dissimilar today. Somebody's in the options market.
Okay.
You're buying, or you have the right to buy or sell a stock or a bond. You're designated at a price for over a certain period of time.
Mm-hmm.
In the case of buying a stock option, each option is worth 100 shares of stock.
Right.
Okay, so that's pretty big leverage in the swings in the option market. Small amount of money down gives you control of a lot of stock, and if the stock goes up, you can make a lot of money. Hello, kitty. And if the stock goes down, you conversely lose money. In the case of the option, your loss is limited to the amount of money that you're putting down and the time period to which it's going. In the stock market during the late 20s, there was no margin limit as there is today. So people are putting down 1%, 2%, maybe 10% to control a lot of stock. And when stocks go down, you get a margin call. So you either have to sell stock or put up more cash.
Right.
If the stocks are going down very quickly in a major sell-off due to some economic event or Federal Reserve event, you can't raise enough cash quickly enough. And then you had the issue with the banks. Banks didn't have the money available when people started knocking on the doors. They closed down, particularly in a lot of rural areas. Oh, we don't have enough money available to give it to you. And it didn't just go to Bonnie and Clyde, who were taking it. So, geez, we're in a world of hurt, and you can see how that leverage works. And you can see how the leverage worked to the detriment of the real estate market and others who were hurt by it as recently as 2008 and in 2009, the leverage that was involved with mortgages.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so here banks did close down. The government was forced to step in. And it was then big banks, such as Bear Stearns no longer exists. Lehman Brothers no
Yeah,
longer exists.
right.
Merrill Lynch is now part of Bank of America. So a lot of changes and mergers due to, I'll say, the so-called intelligence of very smart people who said, "Oh, these people are going to be, nobody's going to miss on a mortgage payment, so we're going to be able to float these mortgages to anybody that has, that passes the breath test." Or if you remember the movie, The Big Short, was that Steve Carell goes into a strip club in Las Vegas. Is talking to a stripper. I'll pay you. I don't need to dance. I need some information. And how many houses do you own? I own 6. And how are you able to afford these?
Right. I mean, it's so amazing that we recovered from that eventually.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of pain to go through to recover from that. Can that ever happen again?
Sure.
Great. Wonderful news. That's great news.
I mean, do you think, I quite frankly never thought that the stock market could sell off, 50% after what people went through in 1973 and 74.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on me, as time went on, wait a minute, those people who were around and invested in the stock market in 1973 and 74 are gone. So what I call institutional memory, no longer. Oh, well, we don't even think about that. That can't happen. And lo and behold, same types of things are repeated, maybe not here in the United States, but it happened, or the cause of that happened again someplace else in the world. And again, it was all the use of leverage to a huge extent. So just take a look at the number of times, we'll say since 1995, when the stock market, just measured by either, we'll say by the Dow Jones indices, or even the S&P dropped, we'll say at least 35% or more in a short period of time, only to recover. So you've got, and recover very quickly. October 1997, caused by somebody trying to manipulate the Thai baht. So the emerging markets fell apart, and that had an adverse effect here in the United States. A lot of margin calls. A year later, a hedge fund run by 2 Nobel laureates was trying to short the Russian ruble. Whoop. People took the other side of the trade. These guys just about got wiped out, and the New York Fed had to step in and save not only this particular hedge fund, but a lot of other hedge funds that were trading on the same information, plus all the investment banks that had lent this hedge fund a lot of money. And that was in October of 1998, shortly before the stock market took off because of Y2K, big recovery. And then we had in 2000, the government said, geez, Microsoft is a monopoly. Microsoft's a monopoly. And just a few weeks before the government went after Microsoft as a monopoly, in order to, I'll say, appease Scott McNeely of Sun Microsystems, who said, geez, I'm having a tough time competing with Microsoft on the enterprise place. So they must have a monopoly. Bill Clinton and Tony Blair were talking about biotechnology, and they said all technology should be shared freely. March of 2000, stock market started down just because of that, and the government going after Microsoft. And there are a lot of stocks from that point in time that still have not recovered to the level they were at that time. One company in particular, which was the number one stock by market capitalization, excuse me, Cisco, still has not gotten back to the price it was in March of 2000.
God.
So what I'm taking from this, all these downs and ups, some a-holes tried to get rich easy and quick and screwed everything up.
Yeah, that has happened. Or a group of
very
a-holes, group of very supposedly smart people using tremendous amounts of leverage did that.
But what I want to do,
over leveraging has probably done more damage to the economy than any other single thing.
Very, 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 very definitely.
I think that if 1930 happens again in 2030, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think the four of us should form our own mafia. What do you think?
I'm still not kissing the ring.
That's what happened, though. Well, you'd probably be the head of the mafia.
No.
But that's what happened with organized crime. It's way up after 1930. It just shot through the roof.
I thought
that makes sense.
I'd be your Luca Brazzi, but I'd be probably hopefully better than he was at it.
There you go.
I thought a lot of that had to do early in the starting in the teens and then in the 20s, and then definitely, well, a lot of it had to do with, I think what's called the Volstead Act?
Volstead Act.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Volstead. Yep.
Yeah. You can't drink. What do you mean I can't drink? I got to be able to drink.
Yep.
That's an interesting take. People don't think about that. It's like, well, this is now illegal and you can't do this and you can't do that. Boy, that era must have been tough to live through.
What? And you know, there were a bunch of people said drinking is the evil.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're pounding that. And they got the government to, a bunch of politicians, Republicans and Democrats get together. Nope.
Well, didn't they pull that one when it was like a super small session or something? And Volstead did a lot of under the table dealings to get that to go through.
I'm sure that was the case. Instead of saying, there are a lot of people that drink. They like to drink. Beer and alcohol has been around since before the Egyptians.
Yeah. Yep.
People like that. Geez, there was even, Robin Hood was was still a book at that time and on the radio, and Friar Tuck.
Yep. He was a drunk.
He was
Friar Tuck was a drunk.
Monks were some of the biggest beer brewers out there.
Yeah, they were.
Yep.
There you go. So, people tried to tax beer. Why, instead of banning it, we should tax it.
Way to go, Minnesota. Volstead. Wasn't he from Minnesota?
Yeah, he's from Mankato, I think. But didn't Floyd B. Olson get involved in that too? Our governor at the time?
Could have.
I think he got involved with a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah, so okay. I think that's like somebody used to say, wow, the Jews have caused all the problems around the world.
I said that this morning.
Oh, good. Okay. I said, oh, this is good. I think it's the Lutherans. It's the Lutherans. They don't want anybody drinking.
Yeah.
No drinking.
Yeah, that's true.
We're gonna ban alcohol. I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute. Don't farmers manufacture product that goes into alcohol.
Barley, yep, barley and hops, man.
There you go.
Didn't that, here you want to ban that? Can you imagine? That hurts the working man. That's your family.
Mhm.
That's your family moving that
Yep.
that beer.
Thinking about that, and I've been thinking about that lately, about the way these people are going after each other, just vicious attacks on one another. Do they not understand that you're not just going after Biden or you're going after Trump? You're harming their family, their children, their spouses,
Their grandchildren,
Well,
all the way
grandchildren-
down the line.
Why is it so easy for people to do that? I could not do that.
Well, because you have a moderate amount of common sense and
There's no
compassion.
common sense anymore.
No.
It's all because money gets in the way of that, doesn't
Exactly.
it?
Well, money and a lot of stupidity.
Yeah.
This is what I think the way things should be. And if you start looking at who was leading the charge on that, it's not somebody that's I don't even want to go to Bernie Sanders, but who's in his 80s. But start looking at all the young people on the young elites on our elite college campuses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And their teaching assistants or young professors who come up with these ideas. Then you start thinking, have you people ever had a
Real job?
job?
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten your hands dirty, we'll say,
Nope.
in a garage, on a construction site,
Nope.
working in a kitchen?
Nope.
Have you ever started a business?
Nope.
No, these are all great. These are very nice ideas. Have you ever tried them in real life?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, now I'll go back full circle to JD Vance. Businesses are bad. Big businesses are bad. He came out and said Lena Khan, who's the current FTC, I'll say chairperson, who has gone after all kinds of businesses. Big business is bad. Amazon is bad. They should be broken up. They're a monopoly. Microsoft shouldn't be allowed to buy this company. Albertsons should not be able to buy another company because that would hurt somebody. Thinking, and the landscape for mergers and acquisitions is for consumer benefit. Nope, we're going away from. We want to go away from that, and we're more concerned with competitors. We want to change the standard that's been around for a long time. I'm thinking, Lena Khan, where have you been? You came up with this idea in law school, didn't make any sense then, does not make any sense today.
Doesn't it sound an awful lot like socialism?
It's worse than that.
It's worse than that. Well, that's great news.
And you've got, well, this was my limited take. And I'm picking on JD Vance. Very interesting that you were a Democrat. Your wife was a Democrat, and now you're running for a Republican. You ran as a Republican as a senator, and now you've been picked to run as the vice president. And a lot of your ideas are
Kind of out there.
from the left side of the aisle than from the right side of the aisle.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Donald Trump, registered Democrat for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of his ideas are are from that side of the aisle, and now you've got the Democrats who are also even further moving further and further to the left.
Oh God, it's just unbelievable the ideas that they
I mean,
have.
that's another, not that I'm a big Joe Biden supporter, but just look, Joe Biden ran, I'm a uniter, not a divider. Okay, you're for the most part, even though you've been wrong on foreign policy for 50 years, for the most part,
Well, that's true.
You're closer to the center. You're center left. You're not way to the left. By the end of his term, you're pretty far to the left.
Yep.
It did not take long.
No, it did not.
Your foreign policy stuff leans very much left. I'm sorry. And now you're not only moving to the left. Now you're saying we want nothing to do with trade.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's a big deal now.
And
absolutely.
Okay, I'm not. That's not good to me.
Okay, now that we depressed the shit out of everyone, any closing words? We're just telling the truth. Yeah, that's just how it is.
No.
Any closing words from any of the three?
The three of us, earnings have been coming in better than expected. Netflix came in much better than expected. More people were subscribers to Netflix than had been before. Netflix stock, jumped up.
And Netflix has been having troubles for a long time.
Yep. Well, now they've figured out a way around that. Their ad tier, which a lot of people on Wall Street, never work. Never work. They're not going to make enough money when people are switching from the non-ad tier to the ad tier. Not going to work. More people switch to the ad tier. Advertising sales are now starting to kick up, and Netflix is still the number one streamer.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say in the country. Number two streamer is favorite Amazon. Amazon, by the way, had their best Amazon Prime Day ever, and competitors, popped up their own sale days right around Amazon's Prime Day, and it is measured. I think this was Adobe measured over $14 billion in sales, online sales, on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, which was Amazon Prime Day.
Mm-hmm.
That is huge stuff. Did Amazon stock go up? Nope, it had been moving up. But with the switch of moving money from the winners to what I call the losers, money's come out of Amazon. Both Amazon and Apple report their earnings August 1. I do believe that you could see some beat and raise quarters.
I don't even know who we call.
Oh, we've got some music. The show must be over.
It's Catherine calling me. All right, that is going to do it.
That's going to do it. The boss is calling.
KB1 is calling, man. I got to do it. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week.
See ya.
Okay.
Reminds me of his woes before. Every time I hear the singing, reminds me how you talk in my door.